give you this piece of paper so you actually have it. What you did yesterday was expressing the domain and the range in set notation using inequalities. Say that 5 times fast.
Set notation using inequality, 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 set notation using inequality,
What is 5?
set notation.
Which means this.
This
This is what that means, what you just said, but you didn't know that you said it when you said it. Okay. Yesterday you did this. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far. Okay. You did set notation, and set notation means you use those little braces, and you used inequalities, which is this. Okay. Like whatever graph you did on whatever thing, you know. Whatever it was. Today, we are changing gears, and another way to do it is what's called interval notation. Interval notation, that is the thing for the deal today. And here is the simple difference of it. Okay? So, look at, maybe I should draw this out here. So, if I asked you to graph this inequality, x is greater than -2, first of all, that would be like a number line. This is what it would look like. Here is -2. Is there a line under the inequality? No, so it's an open circle, and it's everything greater than -2 going this way. Okay? You with me? That's the graph of this inequality. Now, when you do interval notation, what you're really doing is you're giving the starting point, then you put a comma instead of an inequality sign, and then you give its ending point. And because this line never ends, it goes forever in that direction, we use one of my favorite mathematical symbols, the infinity sign. Okay, so if it never ends, you just put the infinity thing. So you've got the starting point, a comma, ending point, and then here's the one thing you have to be very careful with, is sometimes you use a parenthesis. We should blow this up. Why did not do that? Oh. Sometimes you use a parenthesis, and sometimes you use a brace. And that is probably one of the biggest things that see right here, or a bracket. Sorry, not a brace. And here is what you need to know about that. First of all, if it is infinity, if it is infinity, I don't know where any of the Kleenexes went. No, don't do it again.
Yeah,
Okay. If it is infinity, did I say that a few times?
Yes.
If it is infinity, you always use a parenthesis. If it is a closed circle, always uses a bracket. What the bracket means is the same thing as that little equal sign underneath the inequality. Bracket means it can equal that number. Okay? If you don't use it, if you just use a parenthesis, it means it starts at -2 but does not include -2. If I would have done this, wait, sorry, I can't do that. If I would have done this, that would have meant that the inequality was equal to. Okay, so bracket is equal to, parenthesis is not equal to. And because you can't get to infinity, that's why you always have to use a parenthesis with that. You'll never get to infinity. Because if you give me the biggest number you could say, I'll say, well, add 1 to that, and you would have to beat it. It's really mind-boggling if you think about it. Why?
What if you don't use infinity or a closed circle? Then what would it be?
It's an open circle. If it's not a closed circle, it's an open circle. And
Yeah,
it
but an
has to be
open,
a parenthesis.
closed circle. But you said a parenthesis if it's infinity.
Infinity is an open circle
Oh,
because it's not equal to anything.
oh, okay, I get it. something.
Wade, do you want to get up here and teach this?
No.
Yes, fine. No, I know, you understood his question, I didn't really understand what he was saying. So, when you look at this one, let's look at this bad boy right here. Let's not, I won't show you the answer because you have the answer there, okay? This is the beginning, so you put that -3 down. Let's make it smaller so it doesn't look so bad. Okay, it can equal -3, so is it a parenthesis or is it a bracket? Okay, x is really the comma. It goes from -3 to +9. Can it equal +9? Yes, so am I going to put a parenthesis or a bracket? A bracket. And this is what those poor children came from Yorkville and had no idea and couldn't figure. I mean, that was what they struggled with, one of the most things. And I don't know. It is not hard, but it is definitely something that I never, ever had done before. Wait, did we do this one already?
Oh, we just did that.
No, because that one had a equal sign there. So the difference between this is -3, 9, bracket, parenthesis, because it doesn't equal 9. Yeah. Good. I think we're ready to challenge ourselves here.
So we're only gonna use a bracket and parenthesis, we're never gonna use that other thing? What's the other thing called?
Infinity?
No,
Brace.
the brace, yeah. Are we ever
That's
gonna
just
use
for
that?
the inequality.
Yeah, no, that's that brace. A brace is usually for set notation. A brace usually tells you have a set of numbers. Not always, but 90% of the time. So here, take a look at this one. Why do I have so many of these? Alright, so looking at that first thing there. Now problem number 1, they give you the inequality, ask you to graph it, and then they ask you to put it in interval notation. What would that look like? Let's see. Maybe we need to shrink this thing down. So if you were looking at problem number 1, if you were graphing x is greater than or equal to 4, what do? Here at 1, 2, 3, 4, open circle, close circle. Yes,
Open,
close.
close.
Thank you for that. And which way does it go? Greater than, it goes this way. Please don't forget when you graph these that this little inequality arrow is the same little arrow you do. Now, the question is, how do I put that out in interval notation?
I don't know how to do.
Are you serious? You go from its starting point to its ending point and put a comma between. Where does it start? 4. Where does it end?
Never.
To infinity and beyond. Put a comma between it. Does it equal 4?
Yes.
So it is a,
Bracket.
and infinity is always,
Parenthesis. I get it now.
that is it. How about number 2? X is less than 6, so here at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, open circle because it's not equal to, less than shoots off in this direction. There's a graph of it. What would interval notation look like?
Negative and infinity.
What's the smallest it can be?
Negative infinity.
Yeah, but you have to put negative, it is negative, so it's negative infinity. And again, that would have to be a parenthesis because you can't continue there. A comma, and it goes to what?
6.
6. Parenthesis, bracket.
Open. Parenthesis.
Parenthesis. Okay. I will let you do numero face. And then I suppose we should do one on the bottom. I'm going to give you this little sheet while you're doing that. You will be experts at. Do you know how much read there? What's this one?
Do you want us to do the rest of this paper?
Well, not yet. It's going to be your homework. We're going to go to this one too. But I should have put up there one of those from problem. It was on the bottom of that sheet. 6 was what? Negative infinity comma negative 8. All right, number 3. Let's do that one real quick. So you should have put a closed circle at negative 2. Which way is the arrow going? To the left. That's what your graph of it looks like. What does the interval notation look like? Abram Savage?
Parenthesis, negative infinity, comma, -2.
Negative infinity, parenthesis, comma, -2, bracket, because it can equal that. Everybody relatively good on that? Now, lest you get too far ahead, look at problem number 6. I didn't put it on my board up here, but that's what it looks like. You are supposed to both graph that and then give the inequality and set notation. What would the graph of this be? Well, you're graphing it. Negative infinity means it goes forever this way. Starting at what?
-3.
You got negative 8. The thing's going this way. Is negative 8 colored in, or is it an open circle?
Colored in.
It is colored in. Happy days are here again. Good, looks like you're catching on to this. Now, that other worksheet, where did it go? Where is it on my paper? Uh-oh. Is it not on it? Oh, it's right here, sorry. So you are just filling the blanks in on this equation, and it doesn't really matter what order you do it. So if you look at problem number 1, I would probably graph this first over here. And the graph of it is closed circle at 3. Going what direction? Left. And the important thing is, what is your interval notation? Westfall, what's my interval notation for this? Where does it start at?
Starts at 3.
It does not.
Wait.
Start means where's the
Oh,
left
there's
side?
a bracket.
Where's the left side of it?
There's a bracket.
Listen, it ends at 3. By the way, it ends at 3, so 3's right there. What's the beginning of my graph?
Oh, infinity.
Negative infinity. And remember, infinity is always a parenthesis. How about 3? Does it get a bracket or does it get a parenthesis, Brant? What's that? Can equal 3, equal is always a bracket. So the bracket, bracket, and bracket. Now, one may have a question on problem number 9. Look at number 9 on this worksheet. Which I honestly don't know the answer. I may have to look it up for it.
It's an or.
So you're gonna have to write your thing in or. You'll have 2 of those set notations, correct?
Yes.
You'll have the one with the negative infinity going to -1, and then you'll have 2 going to positive infinity. How about that? And then there is an or for inequality. And there you go. I do have a quiz. It shouldn't take you too long. It should be